right, welcome to the most compelling talk show on TV, The Desk on Global Television. My name is Anthony Momodi. Welcome you to today's broadcast, and it promises to be inciting as we look at very topical issues making the rounds across the globe. We've got the U.S.-Canada merger as Trudeau resigns, and Donald Trump on Monday renewed his call for the merger of Canada with the United States following the resignation of Canadian Prime Minister Trump with all his antics. Very interesting talking point we'll be looking at today. If Canada merged with the U.S., there would be no tariffs, taxes would go a long way down, says Trump. So we'll be looking at that very interesting talking point as we also look at other big stories making the rounds on the desk this evening. We'll be taking you from the U.S.-Canada relationship back to Nigeria, where health matters, as Nigeria is at the moderate risk of human mental pneumovirus pandemic coming close, a common respiratory virus that can affect people of all ages. A dynamic risk assessment conducted on Monday, January 6, 2025, has revealed the virus is currently circulating in China and other affected regions of the world and can cause illness ranging from mild cold-like symptoms to severe respiratory infections, particularly in young children, older adults, and individuals with weakened immune system. So we'll be looking at the consequences and the possibilities. We remember what played out in COVID-19. All right, moving forward from that health sector issue that is emanating from China, we'll be taking you to other issues concerning what Mr. President, the goodies for the military is never ending. It looks like in Africa's biggest black nation, the military and the judiciary are the beneficiaries of democracy, as following the signing of the new terms and condition of service of the armed forces, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has approved mouth-watering allowances for officers of general rank who will retire after serving 35 years. So we'll be looking at the implication of some of these allowances, which include the provision of a bulletproof SUV as take-home gift, fully paid foreign medical treatment of $20,000 as ESTA code while embarking on medical trip and payments for cooks and house helps. This is what we'll be looking at and other issues making the rounds on today's edition of the program, The Desk. And one of Nigeria's finest minds will be helping us do the analysis of all these stories, especially with the EFCC dismissing 27 officers for fraud and misconduct. These and other talking points will be on the desk. After this short break, we're going to hit the discuss button. Stay with us. Come back. It's now time for us to hit the discuss button, and I've got as my guest in the live studio, we've got Dr. Moses Sali, who is a political analyst and scientist at that, and also joining us via Zoom is Mother Jeffrey Olu Abidoye, who is the global president of Rebuild Nigeria 360, is joining us via Zoom to contribute to this talking point. But let's kickstart. Thank you. I want to say thank you very much for joining me on the desk this evening.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's look at what's the U.S. and where Donald Trump on Monday renewed his call for the merger of Canada and with the United States, especially following with the resignation of the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Is it enough incentives to say just because Canada doesn't want tariffs, so they should merge, and also playing to the gallery saying because Justin Trudeau has resigned, Canada should merge with the U.S. This must be, how do you think the diplomatic community is going to view this? And is this a joke taken too far?
Well, you might call it a joke, but in the arena of international politics and diplomacy, it's not, you won't take it with a pinch of salt, because he tasted the water and he realized that the response that he got, is propelling him somehow.
There was no opposition.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you put it on the table, you realize the resignation of Justin Trudeau and the call by Donald Trump to annex Canada, they are two different things. What actually, influenced the resignation of Trudeau has to do with, the leadership of the political party. The party is going ahead to select a new leader. And if you are not the new leader of that party, definitely you cannot be the prime minister of the country. So he knows that he has lost out there. So the only option available for him is to exit as the prime minister of Canada. So he is leaving, and he's going to hold forth pending when the party chooses a new leader to replace him. When you go to Donald Trump's call, much of Canada's economy, rely more on the U.S., in terms of their export and some of the import that they make. So now Donald Trump is coming with the idea of increasing the tariffs, and he's going to suffocate a lot of production effort in Canada. So by doing that, he's likely to, to try to, woo them, to make them the 51st or 52nd state of the United States. So by doing that, and Canada, in terms of landmass, is not a small country. It's not a small country. I know there are bigger states in the U.S., and if you look at the U.S. historically, how they emerged, they came in like that, in piecemeal. Some of the state of Alaska was acquired from Russia. And there are other states like that in the U.S. that came in, that joined the Union. So, but it's not out of compulsion. It's, there's a referendum within them agreeing that we should join the U.S. and become member of the Union. But Donald Trump throwing it to them and also trying to compel them to accept the idea is likely not to go through, if he's following that route. But, whatever it is, once the new leader emerges, if that will be...
Is there a possibility the new leader might...
That's what I'm saying. If the new leader emerges, if that will be the direction, the political direction they want to take, then it will go to be on the table for serious discussion.
But on the flip side, Trump has already vowed that he's going to impose 25% tariff on Canada. Can we say Trump is also probably taking advantage of the financial or economic power or strength or advantage or edge of the U.S.? Indirectly, he's doing what Putin is doing, trying to...
No, what Trump is trying to do is that...
Outmuscle another nation.
What Trump is trying to do is that whatever policy that they are going to implement, especially, on goods coming from China, because he had already threatened that he's going to increase tariff on goods. And China is gradually gravitating towards Canada. That is where the politics is. If you go to Canada today, you see a lot of Chinese there. China is gradually gravitating towards Canada. So that is why Trump is calling Canada to emerge, to join the Union of the United States. Because if he starts implementing that tariff, many Chinese companies and industries might likely move to Canada as an option. So for that reason, he's trying to be smart by saying Canada should join.
But would there be any honestly speaking, would there be any advantage for the Canadians if they...
Definitely there will be advantage if more industries, more Chinese goods are coming to their country.
No, that's what I'm saying. If they decide to join the U.S.,
that is why I said, it's what, when the new leader emerges, if that will be an idea or the political direction they want to take, we will know, because it will become a talking point. So, but what is prompting Trump to make that kind of statement is because he has already suggested that he's going to increase the tariff of goods coming from China. Then China had already prepared an option to the U.S. that if Trump makes it so difficult for them to bring in their goods, they will shift most of their goods to Canada. And when he gets to Canada, Canada can as well decide to take it to US or take it to other part of North America.
All right, let's see if we've got Abidoye, who is joining us via Zoom, so that we can get his take on this first talking point. Good evening, Abidoye. Thank you for joining us on the desk. All right, we're still waiting for him to rejoin us as we look at issues making the rounds on the global perspective. Let's go for another quick break. When we return, we'll be looking at the health sector in Nigeria. So welcome back. Still the desk, and we're looking at issues now. Next talking point on the desk: Nigeria is at a moderate risk of the human mental virus, a common respiratory virus that can affect people of all ages. This is the new one. Just yesterday, the WHO Secretary General in person of Tedros Ghebreyesus did raise an alarm that this is another form of COVID-19 and asking the world to be prepared. Some people believe that this is another shade of COVID-19 where pharmaceutical companies now suddenly put everybody on their toes, asking for vaccines to be produced in a rush and all that. Do you think Nigeria is actually ready? Now they're telling us we're in moderate level rate, so it means we're not in complete danger. But do you smell something cookie?
No, it's a virus, and what is unique about this particular virus is that it has it's a combination of symptoms from the influenza virus and COVID virus. So this could also be one of the most deadly viruses that you can see around. So thank God that the information on this came out much earlier, unlike COVID-19, when they try as much as they can to hide the information, and the virus keeps spreading all over the world before the world could realize it, even before WHO could say anything about it. It has gone wide.
Did that look like it was deliberate?
No. China has a policy of, they have a control over their media.
True.
Yeah, so they have a very strong
I think the whole of Asian...
Yes, they have a very strong control over the media. It is what they want to externalize that they were. But in this particular case, a citizen left the country and made a podcast on it. That is why the world is aware. And he raised a serious alarm that the world should rally around this, because this is another COVID. Now that the information is out there, the World Health Organization is responding to it. So it's not likely to be, the kind of situation that we had during the COVID-19. Because when it started, they couldn't even find a name for it.
I remember there was a time they were just using different names.
So there's no name for it. You can see it. So until they were able to find a name. But this one, came out, and there's a quick response to it. So that in some countries have even stopped, consular services of China, consular services trying to prevent anybody coming
in from China.
So because of the lesson they learned from COVID-19. So I think Nigeria...
But for Nigeria, do you think we've started activating... Yes, the NDDC, yesterday did say they are trying to reactivate the COVID-19 protocols. But do you think it's effective so far?
Well, let's see how far they can go with that. But the issue, what we actually, these are tropical diseases. And Africans, especially Nigeria, we are not new to tropical viruses because of our weather, our climate, and our environment.
So we're technically immune?
No, we have antibodies.
Antibodies, yes.
We have antibodies to some of these viral attacks because, things like typhoid and all that kind of tropical diseases are with us. We grew up in it. So we have our immune system have been developed to the point that it can resist some of these viruses. So that is why Nigeria, I think that's one of the reasons why
they say we are moderate.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, but in terms of scaling it up and just being prepared, pre-prepared, do you think there's still need for the government and health officials?
Yes, of course.
To kick-start the alert already? Because we've not really had the alerts.
Of course, there is need for that, especially people who are traveling to that part of the country and people who have visited and are coming back. We need to, do a thorough check on them, in case if we find such thing, then we can be able to, control it. Because it's human-to-human spread. So people who have had contact with those who have traveled to that part of, to China specifically, and those who wants to travel there. Yeah. So we should be able to, control their movement. If they leave the country, and when they come back, we should be able to give them that proper...
But will you say the NCDC has done enough in terms of publicity?
The publication is still low. Yes. And I think they don't want to raise an unnecessary alarm if that's their thinking. Because if they raise an alarm, people may become panicky, and that could dovetail, affecting economic activities in the country. So maybe they're trying to manage it in such a way that people don't get panic about it. They go about their normal businesses and all that to be able to, keep economic activities going.
All right, we hope that will be the case, and we're hoping that Nigerians would also take a caution to beware of this new mental pneumo virus that is plaguing the world. All right, let's move on to the next talking point on the desk. We've got following the signing of the new terms and conditions of service of the armed forces, President Bola Tinubu has approved mouth-watering allowances for officers of general rank who will retire after 35 years. Some of the allowances include the provision of bulletproof SUVs as take-home gifts, fully paid foreign medical treatment, $20,000 as Esther code while embarking on the medical trip, and payment for cooks and house helps. The harmonized terms and conditions of service for officers and enlisted personnel in the Nigerian Armed Forces, which had been in the works since the tenure of former administration of President Muhammadu Buhari was signed by President Bola Tinubu December 14, 2024. Some public affairs analysts believe that the government of Tinubu is very strategic in ensuring the goodwill of those in the military and those in the judiciary, because these are two arms of people that are very pivotal to their remaining in power. Do you see from that perspective, and is it really fair that just the military and the judiciary were taken care of? Why the health sector is in trouble, the education sector is in trouble, and still the government wouldn't budge?
Well, you see, if you say these two major key aspects of our nation are strategic to, retaining someone in power, I don't want to dive into that discussion. But, if as a Nigerian, for the past 15 years, you know that the country has been in serious war among itself. We have had Boko Haram who had ravaged the country. Do you know how many people have died as a result of Boko Haram's insurgency? Many soldiers have died.
What are the Nigerians that have died?
Many Nigerians have died. But, those who are actually at the forefront, engaging the fight, many have died as a result of this insurgency. That is one. We have had other crises apart from both. We have had the bandits. We have had headers and farmers crisis. Now we are talking about Lakurawa's crisis. All these crises in the country, that is in the north. When you go to the south, you have the Niger Delta militancy. We have all sorts of things that are going on there. For people to be, to give their all in every service, that requires taking your life. That is the supreme price that you pay. You need that incentives. And beside that, this thing that you are talking about, they are not new. They have been there. They have been there. The only thing that I can see.
So if they've been there,
yes,
then wouldn't it be wise and fair for us to say the military also have not been fair to Nigerians if they kept complaining that they were not giving welfare and they have this welfare all this while?
No, I have not. The only difference between these new terms and is that the amount that they used to give, there's a slight improvement.
Okay.
Especially, that sum of $20,000. It wasn't $20,000.
And would you say it's also fair that the generals get this largesse, while the men, the ground soldiers who are actually at war, do not get half of this? These men are at home with their wives, while the real foot soldiers get less than nothing. Are we being sincere here?
You are opening a new argument. You see, the reason why you are opening a new chapter is that, for instance now, you are educated and you are working here. Do you earn the same salary with someone who is a security guard downstairs? What is the difference between you and that person? It's because you went to school.
Okay.
That is why your salaries and entitlement are not same with someone who is a security guard down there outside. So anyone who has risen to the rank of a general in the army is a well-trained and educated person.
Were they trained by the country's finances, or was it with their own personal funds?
The soldiers that
are trained with Nigeria's money, so it's not their personal money. So it's not like that they've done.
Listen. It's not so.
It's so, because you're making it sound like you said they're well trained, but it's with the finances of the country.
Tony,
pays taxpayers' money.
Tony, before you got into the university, before you were admitted into the university, are there no requirements that you must have before you get? Okay.
True.
The soldiers that you are talking about, why didn't they go and present themselves for that? Some of them don't have the requirements.
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Fair enough.
So if you don't have the requirements to get into the officer cadre,
there. Okay.
So is it the officer that is responsible for you being a soldier? There are soldiers who took the challenge and rose from being a soldier to an officer. Okay. Do you understand? It's at your discretion to do that. So the benefit of an officer is not same as a soldier. So the training that an officer receives is not same the training. A soldier spends 6 months or 6 months or a little above 6 months for his training in depot. An officer spends not less than 4 years in NDA. Okay. Do you understand me?
Yeah, so if I get what you're saying,
let me finish. Okay. Let me finish. So what an officer does, the contribution that the officer brings to the running of the military is not the same with a soldier. True. A soldier is told what to do. Okay. An officer generates what should be done. It's different. True. It's different. True. So, and for instance, you go to the hospital, you see nurses, you see a medical doctor. Are they learning the same thing? No. But they work in the same environment. It's the same rules that applies. So that is what it takes. Okay.
Why I brought that up was you said they put their life on the line. To support what you said, if they put their life on the line, if they decided to play that role of a soldier, should we now pay them for what they have decided to? Because it's like me deciding to be, I'm going to be in the media. You see, this is what I want to do.
You see, Tony, I don't want to overflog this issue. The issue is that, you see, in every sector, even if you sum the entire thing that they are talking about as the benefit that a general gets, if you go to a different sector of the Nigerian economy, for instance, like oil and gas, maybe the chief executive of an oil and gas company is exiting, going into retirement. What he takes home, you can't equate it to what a general is.
The benefit generals get in their different war fronts in terms of...
Okay, for instance, let's assume a governor in Nigeria spends only 8 years as a governor. And when he leaves office, what he gets from that office in a year, can you equate it to this? Someone who spent only 8 years. But a general, before you can get to the rank of a general, you have spent nothing less than 30 years of service.
Okay.
Because 35 years...
And are you saying within that time frame, there are no benefits for them? They don't get any benefits?
You see, that is what I'm trying to tell you.
Because I'm feeling like this is the only benefit that is made
the
public.
benefit you are talking about is for generals.
Okay.
It's not for those below the rank of generals.
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
It's fair enough.
Yeah, it's not below the rank of generals. It's like when a professor in the university.
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying? You have reached the peak of your career. It's not everybody. Someone who left as a lecturer one or something doesn't have the same benefit like someone who got to the professorial cadre. So it's the same thing. The only thing, this thing has been there. You know, some of the time, this thing you see, some of the time they monetize it. It's not as if they are going to buy the SUV and give it to us, except you say, I want it. So they monetize some of these things and give it to you. I'm trying to give you an example because, you know, we should not try to make it look as if it is the only thing or it's the only sector where such thing is obtainable in the country. No, I try to give you an example of a politician who spent only 8 years of his life to govern a state. And for instance, in Lagos State, when you live as a governor, they build a house for you. No, I'm trying to give you an example.
Okay.
They build a house for you in Lagos. They build another one for you in Abuja. All these cooks that you are talking about, all these drivers that you are talking about, all the cars, in fact, their own vehicle is not one. For someone who rendered only 8 years of service.
Okay, that's fair enough defense for the military.
It's not a defense. You see, let me tell you something.
But are you saying the health sector and education sector are not as important as the military?
They are important.
So why are they not?
If you don't have a secured nation, will you go to school?
No, of course.
If you don't have a secured nation, you are sick, will you be able to go to the hospital?
No.
So, you know, there are sectors of the country
that are
very crucial.
No doubt.
That every other activities resonate around. Yes. That's what I'm trying to let you know. Okay. Because if you look at the constitution, say the function of the government shall be for the provision of what? Security. So security is key.
The lives and property.
It's key.
Yeah. All right, fair enough. Let's move on to the next talking point. We've got the EFCC in the news this evening as the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has dismissed 27 of its officers from service for fraud and other acts of misconduct. A statement from the agency said Monday that the purge followed the recommendation of the Staff Disciplinary Committee of the EFCC ratified by the chairperson of the commission, Ola Olukoyede. However, the statement did not reveal the identities of the 27 affected officials and the cases against them, a repeat of the similar announcement by Olukoyede in November 2024 of the dismissal of 2 corrupt officials of the agency. Is EFCC completely honest?
You know, on this one, I think we should applaud them.
Applaud them for half-truths?
Excuse me.
You've got 27 fraudulent officers.
Excuse me.
You let them go and you do not unveil their identity. Is that not giving them a pathway to go out into the country and defraud more people?
You see, Tony, if the Nigerian police behaves like this, our police will not be what we see today. Because
are they not doing the same thing?
When last did you hear police dismissing people like this?
But they're not letting the identity out. So what's the use?
The issue is that if you want to know the identity of the people, you can go as well. You see, I don't believe in a media trial. Do you understand?
So are you saying that the EFCC is not sure of the crimes these officers?
No, they have. They say they have gone through the disciplinary procedure.
And they were found guilty.
And they were found guilty.
So why not?
The other day I was telling you.
Yeah.
I was telling you when we were trying to raise the issue of a female soldier
Yes, okay.
If you can remember.
Yes,
I told you, if the female soldier had not come to utilize social media, would you have heard about it?
No.
So those ones that have been shown the way out, if they go to make a podcast and put it on the internet, you begin to see the identity of those people. But notwithstanding, what I'm trying to say is that what keeps an institution or an organization to be what it is the discipline. When you begin to tolerate things that you ought not to tolerate, you are destroying that institution. That is what has affected the Nigerian police. If our policemen and women leave the shores of this country and go outside and carry out their activities where they are well monitored, they comes out the best. But here, because our internal mechanism for supervision and enforcement of discipline is very weak because it has been corrupted. That is why we have this type of policing in our country. So if the EFCC, is bold enough to carry out this type of, I will applaud them. I will applaud them for that. The only thing that I think they should have gone further to prosecute them. If they are now, relieving them to go, they should go and prosecute them so that they can go to jail. That is what I will advocate. But relieving them, weeding them out of the system is very good because it will act as a deterrent to those who are already there.
But is this is half justice?
Okay, in what sense?
Like you said, if you catch corrupt politicians or citizens,
yes,
you go ahead to prosecute them.
Yes.
So why would you catch your own officers and not prosecute them and not even review their identity?
You see, that is why
is that not corruption on their part too?
Tony, what is the essence of prosecution? The essence of prosecution is to punish somebody for an offense. Do you understand what
So
I'm
if you're
saying?
not punishing, you're giving a part of the
Relieving them is a punishment.
Is that good enough?
So if they to some extent, if they are not satisfied, do you understand me? If they are not satisfied with the punishment that they have received by relieving them of their services, then they can go to court. Then you now begin to hear the details. Do you understand what I'm saying? But if you have punished them by relieving them of their appointment because you found them wanting here and there, it's also a punishment. Because if you take them to the court and they prosecute them and the judge pronounce, okay, go and spend 6 months in jail, go and spend 10 months in jail, go and spend, can you equate that to relieving them of their career from the organization? You can't really equate that. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. If someone is found wanting and spends 6 months and come back to the system, and someone you ask him to go, he has just spent like 10 years, and you ask him to go without any benefit, without any pension, which one is more weightier?
So what do you think is the consequences of not revealing this identity to vulnerable Nigerians?
See, the reason why they may have their reason. You see, most of these agencies.
But are there no consequences of such action?
You see, even those that are not members of their staff, that they normally arrest and prosecute, except high-profile politicians, they try to cover their faces. You see NDLE arrest drug suspects, they cover their faces. Why are they doing that? Do you understand me? Why are they doing that? They are trying to, send some message. Do you understand what I'm saying? So if they did not reveal the secret, if you want, if you want to get the details of these people, you can get it because you can use the Freedom of Information Act to make a request. I want to know these people. I want to have the detail of these people, and they will avail them to you. Do you understand what I'm saying? But I am excited to some point because this is the first time we are seeing an agency having the courage to do this. The reason why the military is still what it is today is the discipline they keep. And because if you err in the military, you will get the penalty. So if they can do this, I will applaud them. Because this is what is lacking in many institutions in the country. You talk of prisons, talk of this, talk of that. They will just make an allegation. They will say they are doing investigation. You don't hear anything again. So for them to have the courage to dismiss 27 officers from from their rank is a bold step. It's a bold step.
All right. While Dr. Moses Sali congratulates the EFCC for the bold step of relieving 27 fraudulent officers, I still stand on the fact that I think this is half justice on the part of Nigerians and putting Nigerians in harm's way, because these officers will go out there and still defraud unsuspecting Nigerians. All right, let's move to the next talking point on the desk, where a federal high court in Abuja ordered Governor Monday Okpeholo of Edo State and the Edo House of Assembly and other parties in the suit filed by 18 suspended local government chairpersons in the state to maintain the status quo. Justice Emeka Nwite, in a ruling, gave the order after counsel to the plaintiff Anderson Esemota moved a motion of ex parte to the effect. Let's look at this playing out in Edo State. It's similar to what's played out in Rivers, but this time around it's suspension, and the local government chairmen are refusing to back down. Do you think Governor Okpeholo is being too, some say high-handedness on his part, or being too tough, just resuming, and he's already having a fight with 18 PDP local government chairmen?
You see, the problem is that, you see, that is why when we talk about the independence of the local government administration in Nigeria, these are the kind of things we refer to. You know, you don't equate what you are seeing in Edo to Rivers. What we had in Rivers is that their tenure had elapsed. Rivers' case is different. The tenure of the council members had elapsed.
What I meant in that case was the issue of APC and PDP.
I'm coming now.
Two parties,
but this one, the chairman, their tenure has not elapsed.
Yes.
But the governor is suspending them. For what ground?
For not adhering to his instruction of bringing forward their
You see, you said someone should bring forward their financial reports.
Yeah.
Okay. You that have resumed as governor, what financial report have you tendered to the State Assembly for scrutiny?
The only one he can tender has to be the one of the former governor.
Tender it, lead by example. They have houses of assembly. They have councillors which, you know, to have a check. To the check. So let those councillors scrutinize the finances of the local government, not the state.
Okay, I get where you're coming from.
Do you understand what I'm saying? It's an institution. It's an institution. We don't abuse power like that. So if you want your council, the council within the state, to take a particular course of action, or to do something, that brings about transparency and all accountability and all that, you set the framework for them. You don't go ahead and suspend elected people because they don't belong to the same political party with you. That is not the ground for you to do that. So the local government chairman, they have councillors. The councillors have the powers to impeach the chairman if he is found wanting. So if you find anything, if the expenses, the running of the local government, they are accountable to the council. The councillors are elected by the people from each ward. So the governor cannot just unilaterally suspend a local government chairman. It's an abuse of power. It's an abuse of, and that is what we are talking about. When you go to local government in a council, you see things, they are completely dead because of the, this kind of rascality you see around.
What do you expect from the governor going forward now that the
governor has done the wrong thing, so he should reverse himself? That is what it means. Because if he likes it or not, the tenure of this local government chairman will elapse before him. He just came in. Those ones have spent some time. So, and I think their tenure is for like 3 years. Yeah? So it will elapse. So when you want to conduct the next election, you bring your party men to take over. If you are strong. Do you understand what I'm saying? So not just come in and suspend them. Who does that? Because you say they should bring their expenditure and all that, their financial distance. They have council. They have their own local government legislative assembly.
How do you think this is going to make the autonomy of local governments,
It's a very difficult.
How difficult is it going to be for the committee set up by the presidency? And do you think these state governors do understand and appreciate the need for this autonomy?
That is why this Edo's case is
going to be
a real case study. Because you can see that the local government chairmen are already standing up against him. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's a real case study. And it's not only limited to Edo, in most of the states in the country.
So how key is it going to be for the judiciary to ensure that the governors
The governor has no right, no power to do what he is doing. Because those people were elected. If you want financial probity, let the legislators, the councillors that constitute the legislators at the local government level, let them scrutinize the account of the local government. You have a ministry of, most of the states have ministry of local government and chief tertiary affairs. Let them interface with them and give you feedback on what they are doing in each local government.
All right, well said. We hope that Senator Modokwe-Okpeholo, the governor of Edo State, can hear from the horse's mouth. We expect that the right thing will be done. And like the court says, return to status quo should be maintained, and that means the 18 local government chairmen should go back to work. All right, let's move on quickly. Time, not our friend, and we've got a revered Sheikh Gumi on the desk this evening as the Kaduna-based Islamic cleric. Ahmad Gumi says the creation of the Ministry of Livestock Development can address armed banditry in Nigeria's northwest region. If properly managed, Gumi said the new ministry would reduce security challenges across the country. He stated this while hosting former Minister of Sports Solomon Dalong at his residence in Kaduna. Dalong said he visited Gumi to discuss the challenges of facing northern Nigeria, especially with the emergence of the new terror group, Lakurawa, and how the government can address them. Gumi posted a 30-minute video of their conversation. Gumi is technically becoming another, do we say, envoy or spokesperson for these banditry groups. Many times we see him speak on behalf of the bandits, the fact that the government should listen to them, give them what they want. Do you think the move by the former Minister of Sport, Solomon Dalong, smells of many colors?
You see, politicians, they like to be seen. They like to be
in the news.
To be in the news, even for whatever reason. So they like to be seen, and people know that I'm still breathing here. So for Dalong, Solomon Dalong, because
I'm wondering, she's not a governor, so
he's not a governor, but he was a minister.
Yeah.
He should thank his stars that he was a minister in Buhari's first tenure. The second time they booted him out of the place. But
was it because he didn't deliver?
What will he deliver? If you understand plateau politics very well, Dalong does not have
a say
what it takes to bring anything significantly to plateau state politics. It does not. My undergraduate studies at the University of Jos. So I'm aware. I know something. I know certain things about plateau politics.
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So Dalong, sometimes he behaves as an activist, a political activist, which he is. Even when he was at the University of Jos, he liked making that around as a political activist, try to do this and do that. So there's nothing wrong with that. He can do that. But what I'm trying to say, meeting Gumi, well, I don't know what is the reason behind him going to see Gumi. But these Lakurawa's
emergence,
they are not new. It's still same bandits. What is new is the name. They changed the name. Do you understand what I'm saying? They are not new.
So
it's still same bandits.
So our security agencies should be held responsible that this group can metamorphose into a new.
You see, what you are saying is not a new template.
Okay.
Insurgency all over the world, they mutate like virus. They mutate like virus. When you go to the Middle East, we have ISIS, we have ISIL, we have other groups. It's the same people. It's the same. So what they do is that when you have dealt with
That
social
same group.
the another name
They
will come
come.
out thinking just to give you that
Impression.
facade that it's a new thing. It's nothing new. It's
For-
still an old wine.
For Gumi, now he's talking livestock could be a game changer and banditry. Do you think he knows something he wants to
you
tell
see,
us?
livestock production anywhere in the world is gold mine. There are many economies, European economies, that rely on livestock. But the kind of livestock we practice here, we have not uplifted it from that peasant level to the realm of mechanized and industrialized. If Gumi is talking in that direction, then I can listen to him. But if he's talking from the point of peasant livestock, I can't listen to him. Because some of them have the resources to uplift the livestock production from the peasant level to the mechanized level. But they refuse to do it.
Why?
Because during the 8 years of Buhari's administration, the Miyetti Allah, which is the group,
Cattle Breeders Association.
thank you, they were given substantial amount of money
To improve.
to take care of their production and all that.
Instead, they became.
That anchor borrowing that Emefiele midwife gave them substantial amount of money.
So they were not properly
But
supervised.
they have not
That's why
been able to
they diverted
uplift
the money.
the practice to a mechanized level, whereby they can be able to say, okay, with the coming of this ministry, we can be able to take advantage, because the ministry will be able to link them up with international markets and all kind of things, where they can be able to export their dairy products and their meat and all that, to be able to earn more money. So if you are talking in that direction, I will listen to you. But if you are talking in the direction where we try to maintain the old order that has not brought that has not improved the life of those who are doing it, and have not brought much foreign exchange, then you are not actually talking.
All right,
Yeah.
we've got 2 minutes to wrap it up. Let's quickly look at the other talking point that concerns people of the southeast and the country, where the lead counsel for Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, has rejected Nigerian government's move to set a date for the resumption of the Kanu's trial. Jimako based his rejection on the fact that Justice Binta Nyako of the Federal High Court entered and enrolled an order recusing herself from the Kanu's trial September 24, 2024. Recall that Kanu had requested Justice Nyako to step down from his trial due to the lack of confidence in her handling of the matter. Following his request, the judge returned Kanu's case file to the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, Justice John Toso. However, Justice Toso sent back the case file to Justice Nyaku for the continuation. Why this back and front? Because Justice Binta had told us, go settle this matter out of court. It needs a political solution. Why is the federal government scared of political solution? And just last weekend, we had the president visit the southeast. And Abaribe has said he's going to stand as a shorty. In 2 minutes, please.
You know, you see, Kanu's case, you know, I told you.
Yeah, you told me.
I have told you before. That is what is on the table. Do you understand?
So why the politics
It's
here?
a political issue.
So why are they saying go back to the court? And the courts are saying back and forth.
If they have not reached a political compromise, then they go back to court.
But the last visit of Mr. President shouldn't have been the game changer.
It's not easy, as you see. You know, I told you that before Kanu can be released, they must extract sufficient political advantage. So if that has not been achieved, then they will be playing the court role. But the Abaribe that is talking about, Abaribe, that first bail that Kanu jumped, it was Abaribe that shorted him. Abaribe was the one that stood as a shorty for Kanu when Kanu was granted bail. And he jumped that bail because he disappeared from the country. Abaribe is now coming again to ask that he can stand again. So to me, that is not.
So who is fooling who?
No,
the president.
Abaribe cannot stand for shorty. Do you understand me? Because he stood for shorty, and the person you stood for jumped the bail. So why are you coming to? You know, but you know, I know the dimension he's coming from. He's coming from the political dimension, so that his constituent will know that yes, I'm standing for this guy, even though that he knows that he cannot get it. You know, so. That is where it's, and again, you know, Kanu is from Abia State. Abaribe is from Abia State. So you can see the connection that exists there.
All right, on that, I want to say Kanuwanko, talking football now. But on that note, on talking about Nnamdi Kanu and Abaribe, that's where we draw the curtains on today's edition of the program. I want to say a big thank you to fantastic Dr. Moses Sali. Always a pleasure having him in the studio, always standing his ground and being very patriotic and very objective in his analysis, even when I try to rope him in. Thank you very much for joining me at the desk. All right, that's how we call it a wrap on the most compelling talk show on TV. My name is Anthony Momodu saying thank you for joining me on the desk.